I am halfway up a narrow private road in the Santa Cruz Mountains when I start seeing cars parked wrong. Not just one or two. A line of them, half on gravel, half in brush, doors open, one with its trunk popped and nobody around to claim it. I roll past slow with my headlights off, coasting, watching the silhouettes of redwoods flash by my windshield. My phone has been useless for hours. No calls, no map, no news that loads. Only the last few notifications stuck on the screen from earlier today. A county alert, then a second one, then a third. Stay indoors. Avoid contact. Emergency services limited. I tell myself this is still a loot run, a quick in and out. One of those places that has more art than food and more glass than sense. But the drawers are full of cash and the closets are full of watches that never see daylight. I have done this before during wildfires, during evacuations, during storms. People leave fast and they leave stupid things behind. That is the whole reason I am here instead of stuck down in town with everyone else. The mansion sits above the trees, built into the hillside with poured concrete and long windows facing the valley. The driveway gate is open. That should be the first sign I turn around. I do not. I slip my car into the dark under a stand of trees and kill the engine. The quiet out here is not normal quiet. No distant traffic, no dogs barking, no music drifting from another house. It feels abandoned in a way that does not match the price of the place. I pull on gloves, grab my small bag, and walk up the drive. The front door is not kicked in. That surprises me. The security keypad is dark. The door itself is heavy, with a steel frame and clean lines, the kind of entrance that costs as much as my car. I move along the glass wall instead, staying low, checking reflections. Inside, the furniture is arranged the way a designer arranges it for photos, not for living. A low sofa, a table that looks fragile, a sculpture on a pedestal that would hurt somebody if it fell. I find a service door near a garage that is half underground. The handle turns without resistance. The house exhales cold air when I crack it open. The smell hits next. Not rot, not smoke. More stale than anything. A place left sealed up for a few days with the heat off. I step inside and close the door behind me until it clicks soft. Then I stand still and listen. There is a faint sound in the distance. Not a voice. Not a radio. Something closer to dragging feet and a rhythmic bump. It is low, muted by walls, but it repeats. I do not move toward it. I move away from it, deeper into the garage, past an electric car plugged in, past shelves with spotless bins and labels, past a rack of bikes worth more than my rent ever was. The house interior door is locked. Keypad. I lean close and smell the plastic. No warmth from it. Dead power. I work the seam with a thin tool, patient, gentle. The lock gives with a soft shift that makes my stomach tighten in a practical way. Not fear, calculation, sound, time. The door opens into a hallway with recessed lights that are off. The only light comes from the hillside windows far above, gray moonlight cutting across floors. I ease forward and shut the door again behind me. The first thing I notice is how new everything feels. Not new in a showroom way. New in a lived-in but controlled way. The floors do not creak. The air smells filtered. There are no piles of mail, no shoes by the door, no random junk. Whoever owns this place treats it like a project. I move room to room, using my flashlight in short bursts, never leaving it on. Kitchen, dining area, a living space that looks out over black trees and a distant scatter of lights from somewhere lower in the valley. The counters are clear except for a bowl with fruit that has started to soften. That tells me someone left fast. I open a pantry. It is stocked, but stocked in a wealthy person way. Almond butter, protein powder, fancy crackers sealed in plastic, cases of sparkling water, cans of soup that look untouched. I take a couple things and set them by the door in my head, planning a second trip to the car. I hear the dragging again, louder now. It is upstairs or down a hallway, hard to place in a house that swallows sound. I freeze and angle my flashlight beam down at the floor instead of straight ahead. The light catches something near the base of a wall, smears, dark marks in a streak, as if somebody braced a hand there and slid. I crouch and touch it with a gloved finger, sticky, dried. I do not smell much, but the color is wrong for spilled wine. I stand and turn off my light. The dragging stops, the bumping stops. Then something thuds once, far off, heavy, and the house goes quiet again. My brain goes through options and drops most of them. I am not here to explore. I am here to get out alive with something worth carrying. I start backing toward the pantry to grab more food, and my foot brushes a low cabinet door that is slightly open. Inside the cabinet is a tablet dock, a charging cradle, a simple laminated card with printed instructions. Safe room access, primary closet. It is the kind of detail rich people leave for staff. It is also the kind of detail that makes me stop thinking about watches. The primary closet is upstairs. I do not want to go upstairs. Upstairs is where bedrooms are, where people run to when something goes wrong, where whatever made those smears might have gone. But the word safe room digs into me. The alerts on my phone, the dead roads, the open cars, the dragging sound. If this whole situation has gone from panic to collapse faster than I can see from a quiet mountain road, a safe room is not a bonus. It is a lifeline. I move up the stairs with my hand on the rail, slow enough that I can stop instantly if something shifts. The stairs are wide, concrete with wood treads. No squeaks, no helpful warnings. At the top is a hallway with closed doors. I choose the largest one, the one with no personal touch. It opens into a bedroom that looks staged. Bed made tight, no clothes on the floor, a wall of glass looking out into trees. A faint red dot in the corner of the ceiling that I realize is a camera when my flashlight passes. The closet door is hidden, flush with the wall. I open it and step into a space lined with shelves and hanging jackets, all neatly spaced. Shoes arranged in pairs, an expensive smell, clean and synthetic, from leather and cedar and whatever sprays people buy to keep life under control. At the back of the closet is what looks like a full-length mirror. I press on the frame. Nothing. I press on the wall beside it. Nothing. I run my hand along the edge and feel a slight seam. I find a small button set into the trim at waist height. It is the size of a pencil eraser. No label. I hover for a second, listening again, and I hear it. A distant voice now, not close enough to understand. Human. There is somebody else in the house. I press the button. The mirror wall shudders, and the whole section pivots, smooth and quiet, rotating inward on a hidden hinge. Behind it is a thick metal door with a circular handle and bolts that look industrial. The kind of door that does not exist for decoration. A vault-style door. A panic room door. I step through and pull the rotating wall back. It clicks into place, hiding the opening. Now I am inside a room that feels too small for how expensive it is. The panic room is bright when I turn on the lights. Bright in a controlled way, with ceiling panels that mimic daylight, no windows, walls covered in sound-dampening fabric, and a bench built into one side. A small sink, a compact toilet in its own cubby with a sliding door, cabinets, a rack of sealed supplies, A corner with a treadmill folded against the wall, unused, still wrapped. And screens. 4 flat monitors mounted side by side, each showing a different camera view of the house. Front driveway, back patio, kitchen, the upstairs hall outside the closet. I stand in front of them and my brain does that thing where it tries to pretend this is normal. It is not. The kitchen camera shows the pantry door hanging open from when I was in there. The upstairs hallway camera shows the closet door in perfect alignment with the wall. The driveway camera shows movement. 2 men, both holding rifles, moving slow up the drive with their muzzles angled down. A third person behind them, a woman with a backpack and a handgun in a low-ready position, scanning side to side. They are not shouting, they are not running, they are moving with practiced caution. Armed people, not deputies, not firefighters, no uniforms, no patches, just outdoor clothing, gloves, and weapons carried in a way that says they have done this before. One man points toward the garage side door. The other man nods once and shifts his grip. My own body responds without drama. I step back from the screens. I reach for the vault door handle. A small sign is mounted beside it. Lockdown, turn handle full clockwise, air and power switch to internal. I do not debate. I spin the handle. It resists halfway, then latches with a deep mechanical clunk that I feel through the floor. I flip a lever that shifts a panel from green to amber. A fan hums softly inside the wall. The camera outside the closet shows the hallway empty. Then it shows a shadow pass. Somebody is in the upstairs hall. I back away from the door and turn off the panic room lights, leaving only the glow from the monitors. For a few minutes, nothing happens except quiet movement on the screens. The 3 armed strangers enter the house. They move through the living room, then split. The woman stays near the kitchen, opening drawers, checking cabinets, scanning the pantry. One man goes toward the garage. The other heads upstairs. He moves with a steady pace, 1 foot at a time, muzzle angled toward corners. I watch him climb the stairs on the camera that faces the stairwell. I keep expecting him to look straight into a lens and grin, as if he knows someone is watching. He does not. He checks doors. He pauses at the smear on the wall in the upstairs hall and leans close. He wipes at it with a finger and looks at it under the hall's dim emergency lighting. The house still has a faint glow from something, possibly backup power in the walls. Not enough to run the keypad, but enough to run some sensors. The man steps into the bedroom. My hands move without permission, searching the panic room cabinets. I find sealed protein bars, pouches of water, small packets labeled electrolyte mix, a first aid kit, a radio with a hand crank, and a thick binder of instructions. I flip through pages, air filter replacement schedule, battery capacity charts, a note about water purification and storage, a section on how to manage waste for up to 72 hours. 72 hours. That is what this room is built for. A few days while someone pays a ransom, a few days while security arrives, a few days while a problem passes. Not months. The man upstairs opens closet doors. He runs a hand along shelves. His movements are efficient, searching for something specific. He touches the mirror wall. He presses on the frame. I stop breathing in the quiet way people do when they do not want to make sound. Even when soundproofing makes it pointless, my hand grips the edge of the bench hard enough to leave dents in the fabric. The man presses again, then moves on. He does not find the hidden button. He leaves the closet. He leaves the bedroom. I do not move for a long time after his shadow clears the camera. The day turns into a stretch of waiting that refuses to stay calm. The armed group does not leave quickly. They search. They open cabinets. They pull cushions off the couch. One man checks behind Art. The woman opens the refrigerator and stares into it too long, then closes it hard. That sound makes me flinch, even inside a sealed room. It is the kind of noise that carries. On the driveway camera, something shuffles into view from the trees. A person, or what used to be a person, moves on unsteady legs, head angled wrong, arms hanging. It pauses at the edge of the light cast by the driveway sconces that still work faintly. The thing turns its head, slow, then steps forward. Its mouth opens. No sound I can hear from here, but the motion is clear. It knows something is nearby. The armed man closest to the front door sees it through the glass, raises his rifle and gestures back. He signals the others with a quick hand motion. The woman moves away from the kitchen and closer to the living room. She looks annoyed rather than scared. She points her handgun toward the door and says something I cannot hear. The man upstairs comes down with his rifle shouldered. The infected bumps into the glass near the front, then bumps again, harder, forehead striking and bouncing. It does not react to pain. It just repeats, over and over. The man at the door opens it a crack and fires once. The infected drops out of frame. He closes the door and locks it, then stands still, listening. His head turns slightly, checking for more. Within minutes, there are more shadows at the driveway edge. 2, then 3. The man's choice has pulled them in. The armed group pulls back from the front windows and moves deeper into the house. That makes sense. They do not want to be cornered at the entrance. But the sound of that shot is already out in the trees, bouncing between trunks, traveling through the canyon air. I watch more infected wander into view, drawn toward the house. Some move faster, some move slower. All of them move with the same single-purpose drift, pulled toward the most recent noise. The mansion has become a beacon, and I am locked inside its belly. Hours pass in pieces. The armed group stays, despite the infected gathering outside. That tells me they are either stubborn or desperate. They keep searching, now with more urgency, moving away from windows, keeping their voices low, their movements fast. I see one man check a wall panel in the living room, then open a closet near the entryway and crawl halfway inside, shining a light toward what might be a crawl space access. They are hunting for a hidden space. The tech mogul who owned this place did not build a panic room for style. He built it because fear paid for it. Fear of kidnapping, fear of home invasion, fear of whatever life brings to people who get rich enough to become targets. These strangers know that. They are searching for the same room I am sitting in, and they do not care whether someone is already using it. I open the binder again, flipping to diagrams, looking for emergency exits. There is one section labeled alternate egress, then a note in smaller print. Optional, not installed on all units. The diagram shows a hatch through a maintenance chase. It leads up into the wall system, then out through a disguised vent behind landscaping. If it exists here, it is my second door. If it does not, I am a rat in a sealed box. I search the panic room walls with my hands, feeling for seams. Behind the toilet cubby, there is a panel with 4 screws. I find a tiny toolkit in a drawer and unscrew them slowly, catching each screw so it does not drop. The panel comes off and reveals a narrow chase, packed with ducting and wiring. No human-sized hatch. No ladder. Just infrastructure. Not installed. I slide the panel back, put the screws in place, tighten them, and sit on the floor with my back against the wall, watching the screens, trying to think of a plan that is not just waiting to die quietly. The power dips once. The monitors flicker, then stabilize. The panic room switches fully onto its own battery. I look at a small digital display near the ceiling. Backup power, 87%. I do the math in my head without trusting it. How long does 87% last when cameras and ventilation are running? The binder has the answer, but I do not want to look. I want to pretend the number is comfort. Outside, the infected keep bumping at doors and windows. Inside, the armed group keeps moving. Sometime after midnight, the first real impact hits the house. I hear it through the floor, even with the sound dampening. A hard smash, then another. The back patio camera shows an infected slamming its shoulder into a sliding glass door. It hits, steps back, hits again, a stubborn rhythm. The glass holds at first. It flexes, cracks, then holds again. It is high-end glass. Expensive, tough. But nothing lasts forever against repeated blunt force. The woman with the handgun appears on the kitchen camera, moving fast, head turning, listening. One of the men jogs through the living room and points toward the back. The other man follows, rifle up, scanning. They are trying to keep the infected outside. They do not want to fight inside. The man at the back door fires again, toward the patio, and the camera shakes from the concussion even though it is mounted. The infected drops, then another steps into frame. The man fires again, another drops. The shots are controlled, spaced, but the sound is a signal flare in the mountains. More infected show up at the driveway camera, stumbling in from the trees, drifting toward the house lights. The front entry becomes a slow-moving crowd. The armed group retreats into the center of the house. They stop firing. They shut interior doors. They start moving furniture to block the most vulnerable glass. I watch them drag a heavy table across the living room. One man pushes the sofa toward the front window. The woman shoves stools into a pile near the kitchen entry. None of that will stop a crowd forever, but it might slow them. The upstairs man passes the bedroom door again. This time he pauses longer. He steps into the bedroom, then into the closet. He stands in front of the mirror wall and does not move for a long moment. Then he reaches down and pulls a thin device from his pocket, a small handheld detector, the kind that finds studs or measures electronic signals. He slides it along the trim, slow, careful. My eyes lock on his hands. He moves the device along the wall near the hidden button. The device beeps once, quiet but visible in his reaction. His head tilts. He sets the device away and begins pressing the trim with his fingers. He is close. Close enough that one wrong breath would feel fatal even though it is impossible for him to hear me. His finger touches the hidden button. The rotating wall does not move, because I disabled it. I had seen a switch inside the panic room, labeled Auto Open Enable. I flipped it off the second I locked down. It was instinct more than logic. Now it saves me. The man presses the button again. Nothing. He presses harder, frustration creeping into his movements. Then he leaves the closet and shuts it behind him. I do not celebrate. I do not relax. I just sit there and stare at the monitor until my eyes burn and my thoughts get thin. Morning comes without sunlight. The panic room lighting stays the same. The air stays the same. The only way I know time is moving is my own hunger, and the battery percentage dropping in slow, steady increments. I eat one protein bar, chew slowly, sip from a pouch of water. I keep my trash folded and stuffed into a small bin because the room has nowhere for waste to go. The toilet is a compact unit with a sealed tank. It is meant for a few days, not for what I am about to ask of it. On the screens, the house looks worse. The front driveway camera shows smeared handprints on glass. The back patio camera shows cracked panes, one of them spider-webbed and bowed. The kitchen camera shows drawers left open. The living room camera shows furniture shoved out of place. The armed group is still here. That surprises me most. They did not leave overnight. Either their vehicle is blocked, or they think leaving is worse than staying. I see the woman move through the kitchen with a cloth over her nose, not from smell, but to filter dust. Her face is tense in a focused way. She opens the pantry, grabs food, stuffs it into her backpack. One man follows and takes bottles of water. The other man checks the windows again, peering through a gap in the curtains. They're planning to leave now. I can see it in the way they pack, the way they stop searching for hidden doors and start preparing for movement. Then something changes on the driveway camera. A car pulls up. Not slowly, fast, tires spitting gravel. It stops crooked near the gate, and two more people get out. A man and a woman, both armed, both moving with urgency. They run to the front door and pound on it. The armed man inside peers through the glass and gestures sharply. His body language says conflict. The newcomers push at the door. The inside man refuses. He shakes his head, hard. The newcomers keep pounding. Then the driveway crowd of infected shifts. The pounding draws them. The infected surge toward the front steps, a wave of bodies in slow motion. And the newcomers jerk back, raising weapons, firing. I see flashes. I see infected drop. I see more fill the space. The newcomers retreat to their car, scrambling, doors slamming, engine roaring. The car lurches backward, bumps something, then forces its way out. The infected follow, drawn by the engine noise, peeling away from the house and flowing down the drive in a messy stream. The armed group inside watches them go. Then the inside man turns away from the window and says something to the others. He looks toward the hallway that leads to the bedroom again. Search resumes. They are not leaving yet. They are going to find this room or die trying. I stop thinking about getting rich. I start thinking about surviving the next hour. I go through every drawer and cabinet in the panic room and inventory everything in my head. 16 protein bars, 12 water pouches, a couple cans of soup with pull tabs, a small box of crackers, medical supplies for cuts, not for infection, a crank radio that picks up static when I test it, no working cell service, no external connection. The surveillance system is local, feeding into this room through wires and a battery system. I check the air system panel. There is a filter cartridge indicator. It is green. There is also a warning in the binder about external contamination and intake placement. The air intake for the panic room likely pulls from somewhere outside the house envelope. If the mansion fills with smoke or gas, the panic room can isolate. That is the point. But if the intake is outside and infected are pressed against vents, does it matter? Not in the way movies show. Infection is not magic. It needs a route. Blood, saliva, contact. Airborne risk depends on what the outbreak actually is, and I do not know. I only know what I have seen earlier today down in town. People acting wrong, people biting, people collapsing and getting back up minutes later. That memory keeps looping in my head, grounded and ugly. On the monitor, the upstairs man returns to the closet again. He brings a small pry tool. He uses it to test the trim around the mirror wall. He is careful, not reckless. He knows hidden spaces use seams. He works along the edge. The woman appears behind him in the closet doorway and says something that makes him pause. He points at the wall and gestures with his free hand, explaining. She leans in and watches him work. He pries. The panel flexes slightly, but does not open. He pries again, more force. Inside the panic room, I reach for the vault door handle and confirm it is locked. If that rotating wall opens, The only thing between me and two armed strangers is this vault door. That door is strong, but strong is not the same as impossible. Tools exist, fire exists, time exists, and I do not have much of it. Late morning becomes afternoon in my head, even though the room stays steady. The battery percentage drops into the 70s. The binder says that with cameras and air running, backup power lasts a set number of hours. The number depends on how much power the cameras draw and how often the air system cycles. The binder offers scenarios with percentages. None of them give me comfort. I start turning off what I can. One monitor shows the driveway, one shows the kitchen, one shows the upstairs hall, the fourth shows the back patio. I shut off the back patio feed. The patio is already compromised. If something comes in that way, I will hear it. I keep the other three. The armed group continues to search and reinforce. They move furniture, then search again. They take breaks, then search again. They drink water, then search again. At one point, the woman sits at the kitchen island and eats something from a package, chewing fast, eyes on the windows. The man in the garage returns holding a small tool bag, possibly from the house. He passes her something, a bottle. She takes it without looking up. These are not random looters. These are people who came prepared for a job. I think about the tech mogul. People in these circles have enemies, competitors, angry former employees, people who believe wealth makes someone a monster by default. I never cared about any of that. I only cared that panic makes houses empty. Now I am watching professionals take over my loot run. I crawl to the toilet cubby and open the sealed tank compartment. I stare at it. It is a containment system, probably with chemicals. It is not meant for more than a few uses. I do not have a choice. I use it, then seal it again and wipe everything down with a sanitizing wipe I find in a drawer. I start using plastic bags from the supply cabinet for waste instead of relying on the toilet. I double bag. I knot tight. I put them in a corner far from the air intake. It is ugly and humiliating and real. On the kitchen camera, a small motion catches my eye. Not an adult, a child, a girl, maybe 8 or 9, crouched inside the pantry with the door pulled almost closed. Her hair is a dark mess, her face streaked with grime. She holds her knees tight, chin pressed down, eyes wide and fixed on the crack of light under the pantry door. She is alive. She is hiding in the exact pantry I stood in earlier. And the woman with the handgun is 10 feet away, still at the island, back turned, unaware. I sit up so fast I hit my head on the edge of the bench. I clamp a hand over my mouth out of habit, then force myself to move slower. The girl shifts slightly, trying to make herself smaller. I watch her for a full minute, waiting for her to move again, to confirm I am not seeing something from stress. She does. Her hand creeps toward her face, wiping at her cheek. She pulls back when the pantry door creaks a millimeter. She freezes. The armed woman stands and moves toward the pantry. My stomach drops in a clean, simple way, and my hands move on their own, hovering near the vault handle even though opening it will not help this girl yet. The armed woman reaches for the pantry door. Then she turns away, distracted by something outside. The girl stays hidden. I sit there staring at the screen, knowing I can never unsee her now. This is the point where I get honest with myself. I broke into this house planning to steal from someone who has more than sense. I did not come here to save anyone. I did not come here to risk my life for a stranger. But the girl is real. She is alone in a kitchen full of armed adults and surrounded by infected outside. She is hiding with the kind of stillness kids learn when adults have failed them. If I do nothing, the armed group finds her. If the armed group does not find her, the infected eventually breach more glass and the kitchen becomes a trap. If the infected breach, the armed group shoots and runs, and the girl is left with nowhere to go. If I open this panic room door at the wrong moment, I die, or I get dragged out and questioned, or I get shot by someone who panics. If I open this door at the right moment, I still might die just later. I lean in close to the monitor and look at the girl's face again, trying to find anything that explains how she got here. No backpack, no adult hand reaching for her, no sign of help. She is curled around herself with a rigid discipline that scares me more than the infected. It means she has been hiding for a long time. The armed group moves away from the kitchen, toward the garage again, and I see my window. For the next 10 minutes, no one is in the kitchen. The pantry door is still cracked open a hair. The girl does not move. I check the upstairs hallway camera. Empty. Closet door closed. Bedroom empty. I check the driveway camera. Infected drift at the edges, not swarming, but present. I turn the panic room lights down to their lowest. I pull 2 protein bars and 2 water pouches into my pocket. I tuck a small flashlight in my waistband. I grab the first aid kit and sling it over my shoulder. Then I stand in front of the vault door and place my hand on the wheel handle. I tell myself a plan in plain words. Open, step out, close behind me, move fast and quiet. Get to kitchen, get her out, bring her back, lock down again. It sounds simple. That is how dangerous plans always sound before they meet reality. I unlock the vault. The handle turns slow, heavy, each bolt retracting with a soft mechanical thud. I pull the door open a fraction and listen. Nothing. I pull it open enough to slip through. The air outside the panic room smells different. Staler. Warmer. A faint tang of gunpowder. I step into the closet and pull the vault door shut behind me until it seals, then spin the handle back into locked position from this side. Now I am outside the safe room, and I feel exposed in a way the cameras cannot fix. I press the hidden button from inside the closet trim. The rotating wall unlocks with a silent shift, and I ease it open. The bedroom is empty. I slip out and close the wall behind me until it clicks flush. Then I move into the hallway. I keep my flashlight off and move by ambient light, hand brushing the wall for orientation. The mansion's backup lighting gives off a faint glow in the hall and stairwell, enough to see outlines. The house itself feels wounded. A distant thump repeats from downstairs, glass flexing under pressure. Another sound follows, a low scraping, then silence. I take the stairs fast, 1 step per breath, stopping at the landing to listen again. No voices, no footsteps close. The armed group is somewhere on the lower level, likely near the garage side where the walls are solid. I reach the bottom and slide into the corridor that leads to the kitchen. The living room is a mess now, furniture shoved, curtains drawn tight, the front windows marked by smears and handprints that catch light when the infected outside press close. I do not look at them. Looking wastes time. I move into the kitchen and immediately spot the pantry door, still closed to a crack. I crouch and whisper, low, close to the floor, so sound does not travel. Hey, stay quiet. I am not with them. Nothing moves. I whisper again. I saw you on the camera. I am here to get you somewhere safer. A small shift in the crack. The door opens a fraction more, then stops. A girl's eye appears in the gap. Dark, wide, fixed on my face. I keep still and hold my hands out, palms visible. My name is Aaron, I say. choosing a name that comes out without thought. It is my real name. It feels strange using it. I am hiding too. There is a safe room upstairs. I can take you. The pantry door opens another inch. A small hand grips the edge. Her voice, when it comes, is thin and controlled. Are you going to leave me? No, I say. Simple, no speech, no promises I cannot keep beyond the next hour. You have to move now, quiet, no running. She slides out of the pantry in one motion, small and fast, barefoot, wearing an oversized shirt that hangs to her knees. She holds a kitchen towel in one hand, twisted tight. I nod toward the hallway. Follow my feet. We move. 2 steps into the hall, a shout erupts from the living room. Not a scream, a command, a man's voice, sharp, angry. Kitchen, now! The armed woman appears at the kitchen entry, handgun raised. Her eyes lock on me. Then they drop to the girl behind me. For a half second, everything freezes into a clean picture that I will remember for the rest of my life. The armed woman's finger tightens on the trigger. The girl's hand clamps on my shirt without making a sound. My brain decides before I do. I reach into my bag and fling a sealed water pouch hard across the floor toward the living room. It hits tile and skids, loud enough to grab attention. It is not a weapon. It is a distraction. The armed woman's gaze flicks toward the sound. That is all I need. I grab the girl's wrist and pull her down the hallway toward the stairs. Behind us, the armed woman yells something, and footsteps pound in response. We take the stairs 2 at a time. The girl keeps up without complaint. At the top, I veer into the bedroom and shove the closet door open. The girl stares at the shelves of shoes and coats with a stunned expression that lasts 1 second. Then I press the hidden button. The wall rotates inward. Her mouth opens, then closes, but no sound comes out. Inside, I whisper. We slip through. I pull the wall closed behind us. Then I unlock the vault and drag her into the panic room. The door seals shut with a heavy finality. The monitors glow in the dark. Downstairs, voices rise, and the girl stands in the middle of the panic room, staring at the screens, trying to understand where she is. I lock the vault again and force myself to move slow so I do not scare her. She looks at the toilet cubby first, then the water pouches, then the screens. Her eyes catch her own kitchen on camera, and she flinches, recognizing the pantry. She turns back to me. What is this? She asks. A panic room, I say. It is meant for hiding. She nods once, too serious for her age. I crouch and keep my voice low. What is your name? Hazel. Okay, Hazel, listen. There are armed people in the house. They saw you with me. They know someone is here. They will search. Hazel swallows and looks toward the vault door. I do not describe feelings. I watch her hands instead. She twists the kitchen towel tighter and tighter until her knuckles blanch. Is my dad here? She asks. I do not answer fast. Fast answers become lies. I have not seen him, I say. Where was he last? Hazel shakes her head, small motion. He told me to hide. He said, do not open the pantry. He said he will come back. The words come out clipped, memorized. A script she has repeated in her head so she does not break. How long ago? Hazel looks up at the ceiling panels, as if time might be written there. Night, then morning, then night. 2 days, maybe more. I pull a protein bar from my pocket and offer it. Hazel takes it with both hands but does not open it yet. Can you eat? I ask. She nods. I hand her a water pouch. She holds it like it might vanish. On the screens, the armed group reacts. The woman in the kitchen storms toward the stairs. One of the men follows, rifle up. The other man stays below, scanning the living room, listening to the infected outside. The upstairs camera shows the man stepping into the hallway, moving straight toward the bedroom. He tries the bedroom door. It opens. He enters. Hazel stiffens and leans toward the vault, instinct pulling her toward the deepest corner. I point at the bench and whisper, "Sit. Stay still." Hazel sits, shoulders hunched, eyes on the monitor. The man crosses the bedroom fast. He yanks open drawers. He checks under the bed. Then he heads for the closet. He opens the closet door. He steps inside. I hold my breath in a quiet, useless habit and keep my body between Hazel and the vault, as if that could help. The man presses at the mirror wall again. Harder now. He finds the seam. He pries. The rotating wall shifts a fraction, then stops. The lock is engaged from the panic room side. The man curses, a low word I cannot hear clearly, but I see his mouth shape. He grabs the trim and yanks. No movement. He bangs once, a heavy fist against the wall. Then he steps back and shouts to the others. The woman appears in the closet doorway behind him, handgun still raised. He points at the wall and makes a cutting motion with his hand. Tools. They are going to cut in. Hazel's eyes stay on the screen. Her face does not crumple. She only grips the protein bar tighter until the wrapper creases. I stand and move to the cabinet with the toolkit. My hands open it and pull out the heaviest thing inside. A small hammer. Not useful against a rifle. Useful for one thing only. If they breach the rotating wall, I will have to decide what kind of person I am in the next 30 seconds. I hate that thought. I hate the way my brain starts building scenarios. I push the hammer back into the drawer and close it. I do not want Hazel seeing it. Instead, I open the binder and flip to the section on forced entry resistance. The panic room is rated for a certain amount of time against tools. It is not a bunker. It is not a fortress. It is a delay, and delays end. The next hours become a siege with no heroics. The armed group does not start cutting immediately. They back off, regroup, and keep the infected outside from coming in. They are balancing threats. That gives me time. I use the time. I show Hazel the toilet cubby, explain it in simple terms. Use it only if necessary. Seal it. Wipe hands. No water waste. I show her the food. 2 bars a day maximum. Small sips of water. No eating out of boredom. Hazel nods to all of it without complaint. I move through the cabinet and find a thin blanket. I give it to her. She wraps it around her shoulders and sits on the bench, eyes on the screens again. I check the battery display. 64% now. I shut off another camera feed. I keep only 2, the kitchen and the upstairs hallway. If someone approaches the closet, I need to know. If infected breach downstairs, I need to see it in the kitchen first. The armed group starts trying to talk. The man in the closet stands close to the mirror wall and calls out, voice muffled through layers of wall and vault. Whoever is in there, open it. We can make this easy. I do not answer. Answering gives them a person to imagine. Silence keeps it abstract, harder to pull the trigger on. He tries again. We know you are in there. We saw you. Open the door and come out with your hands up. Hazel looks at me. Her eyes ask questions she does not speak. I shake my head once, slow. The man's tone changes, sharper. If you do not open it, we cut through. That door will not hold forever. He pauses, then adds something that makes my jaw clench. And the kid. We know the kid is with you. Hazel's fingers twitch on the blanket edge. I lean close to her and whisper, "Do not make noise. Do not move fast. Just breathe normal." Hazel nods. On the kitchen camera, the armed woman empties cabinets into a bag. She is not just hunting a safe room. She is taking supplies. That tells me she expects to survive beyond today. One man drags a toolbox upstairs. A real toolbox, heavy, metal. He sets it down near the closet. They are preparing to cut. I scan the panic room again for anything I missed. Any vent large enough. Any weak panel. Any hidden exit. Nothing. Then I notice something near the baseboard under the bench. A narrow slot. A recessed latch. I kneel and feel along it. It is not an exit. It is a cable pass-through, likely for a phone line or a hardwired connection. I pull at it gently. A small panel pops open. Inside is a coil of cable and a connector that looks older than the screens. A hard line. Maybe it runs to an external junction. Maybe it runs nowhere now. But it is something. I pull the hand crank radio closer and check it again, not for broadcast, but for parts. The radio has a simple headphone jack and a little set of clips for charging. I am not an engineer. I am a person who has cut corners his whole life and learned basic tricks from necessity. I strip the end of the cable with a small blade from the kit. I test it against the radio's contacts. I get a faint spark. Power line, not signal. Still, the cable likely runs somewhere. If it runs to a junction in the house, I might be able to send a small surge or a tone that shows up on an alarm system. Or I might trip nothing. Or I might fry my own remaining power. I stop and set the cable down. Risk matters now. The first grind of a cutting tool starts outside the wall in the closet. Not loud. Not dramatic. A steady metallic whine that makes Hazel flinch and press her hands over her ears. I move to her, gently pull her hands down, and cover her ears with the blanket instead, muffling. "Look at me," I whisper. "You are safe right now. That door is thick. It buys time." Hazel nods without trusting the words. Neither do I. Evening comes again, and the house shifts into a new kind of danger. The infected outside become more active at dusk, drawn by the lights, the movement, the occasional gunshot when one gets too close. The armed group tries to keep the mansion secure while cutting into the hidden space upstairs. That divided focus creates mistakes. On the kitchen camera, a sliding door finally gives way. The glass collapses inward with a soft rush, not a crash, because the furniture piled against it catches some of it. The opening still exists. Cold air rolls into the room. Then a shape appears in the gap. An infected climbs over a chair and stumbles into the kitchen. The armed woman turns and fires twice, fast. The infected drops out of frame. Then another pushes in, stepping on broken glass, arms out, head tilted. The woman fires again. The sound is muffled through the panic room walls, but I see the flashes and the chaos. This is what the armed group feared, fighting inside the house. The woman retreats from the kitchen, backing toward the hallway, handgun raised. The other man appears behind her with the rifle, firing toward the kitchen entry. The infected keep coming, slow but steady. The man upstairs abandons the cutting tool and sprints downstairs, rifle up, joining the fight. For the first time since I arrived, the armed group looks uncertain. Not scared, uncertain. Because now they are trapped in a big glass house with multiple breach points and a crowd outside. I watch the kitchen camera carefully, using it as a map of danger. Infected stumble into view, bumping into counters, stepping over debris, drawn to sound and movement. The armed group fires. then retreats deeper, trying to funnel the infected into one entry. A kitchen light flickers, then goes out. The kitchen camera switches to night mode, grainy and gray. Movement becomes harder to read. The battery in my room drops to 52%. Hazel whispers, "Are they going to get in here?" I keep my answer honest. They might. That is why we stay quiet. Hazel nods and wraps the blanket tighter. The infected inside the kitchen drift out of frame. Either they are down, or they move toward another sound. The armed group moves out of view too. Then, on the upstairs hallway camera, the closet door opens. The man returns upstairs alone, moving fast. He carries the cutting tool again. He shuts the bedroom door behind him. He is not giving up. He steps into the closet and starts cutting again, harder now. Sparks flicker at the seam. I cannot hear the sparks. I only see them. Bright flashes in gray night vision. Hazel flinches at each flash. I crouch beside the vault door and put my ear close to it, listening for changes. A scrape, a deeper grind. The shift of metal. The vault door is not being cut. The rotating wall is. If they cut through the rotating wall, they will face the vault. Then they will decide whether to cut that too, or wait me out. Waiting me out is easy. 72 hours of supplies. 2 mouths now. I glance at the food again and do the math without mercy. We have maybe 5 days if we ration hard. Battery maybe 2 days with air and cameras, maybe more if we shut almost everything down. Air is the problem. Battery powers the fan. If the fan stops and the room seals, carbon dioxide builds. Not instantly, but fast enough to matter. This room was built to assume rescue. Rescue is not coming. I look at Hazel, then at the camera showing sparks at the wall. I make a decision that tastes bitter. We cannot stay here. We have to leave before they force us out. I tell Hazel, "Eat now, drink now, then rest." Hazel opens the protein bar with trembling fingers that stop trembling when she focuses on the wrapper tear. She eats small bites, chewing carefully, listening. I watch the sparks and plan the exit in my head, step by step, grounded, ugly, real. We leave when the armed group is distracted downstairs. We leave when the infected draw them away. We leave without being seen, if possible. If we cannot avoid being seen, we run. No hero talk, just motion. The chance comes around midnight, driven by chaos. On the driveway camera, headlights swing into view again. Another vehicle, maybe the same one from earlier, returns, creeping up the drive and stopping short of the gate because infected crowd there now. Doors open. 2 men get out, shouting, waving their arms, trying to push through. The infected surge toward them. The men fire, then retreat, then fire again. One man trips and falls. The other grabs his arm and hauls him up. They scramble back into the car, tires spinning. Then the car backs down the drive fast, slamming branches. The infected follow in a clumsy stream, pulled away from the house again. Inside the mansion, I see the armed group react. The living room curtain shifts. A man peeks out. The woman moves toward the front with her handgun, listening. The upstairs hallway camera shows the closet empty for the first time in hours. The cutting tool is silent. They all move toward the front to track the commotion. I touch Hazel's shoulder. She startles, then focuses when she sees my face. "We go now," I whisper. Hazel nods once, no questions, no protest, just a tight grip on the blanket. I pack fast, 2 protein bars each, 1 water pouch each, first aid kit, flashlight. Nothing else. Weight slows, noise kills. I turn off the kitchen camera to save battery and leave only the hallway feed. I do not need to watch now. I need to move. I unlock the vault. The bolts slide back with soft thuds that feel too loud inside my skull. I open it just enough and listen. Voices downstairs, distant, focused toward the front. I slip out into the closet with Hazel behind me. I press the hidden button. The wall rotates. We step into the bedroom. Hazel pauses, eyes drawn to the window wall. The trees outside look close, dark, dense. Freedom and danger in one view. "Do not stop," I whisper. We move into the hallway. Halfway to the stairs, the bedroom door across the hall creaks open. A man steps out. Not one of the three I have watched. A different man, larger, holding a rifle with a mounted light. His face is tense and dirty. He looks more exhausted than focused. He turns his head, sees us, and his weapon rises. Time compresses. I lift my hands, palms open, and say, "Kid, we are leaving." His eyes flick to Hazel, then back to me. His finger hovers near the trigger. His rifle light clicks on and floods the hall in harsh white. Downstairs, a woman's voice snaps, "What is that?" The man in the hall says, low and urgent, "Stay there." I do not. I cannot. Standing still here ends with a muzzle in my face and Hazel dragged away. I step sideways, putting myself between Hazel and the rifle, and move toward the stairs. The man tracks me with the barrel. Hazel grips my shirt again, hard. The man says louder now, "Stop!" I do not stop. I move faster. The rifle light stays on us, blinding, and then the man makes a choice. He fires. The shot cracks in the hallway, deafening in the enclosed space. The round hits the wall near the stairwell, punching plaster. Dust bursts. Hazel flinches and stumbles. I grab her under the arm and drag her down the stairs. Another shot hits the stair railing, splintering wood. I keep moving, pulling Hazel down, body low. At the bottom, the living room is a dim mess. The armed woman is near the front window, handgun up, turning toward the stairs. One of the men is behind her with a rifle. They see us and shout. I do not stop to listen. I yank Hazel toward the kitchen, because the kitchen has the broken patio door and the patio leads out into trees. Not safe, but open. We sprint through the kitchen, stepping over shattered glass and knocked over chairs. Hazel's bare feet hit glass and she gasps, a small sound, and I see blood spots on tile. Not a flood, not gore, just reality. I grab a dish towel from the counter, wrap it around her foot fast, and keep moving. There is no time for perfect. We reach the broken patio door and step onto cold stone. Outside, the mountain air hits us and everything feels too open. We run. The woods behind the mansion are thick, steep, and unforgiving. The hillside drops fast, tangled with brush, fallen branches, wet leaves. Hazel stumbles with the wrapped foot, and I keep a hand on her shoulder to steer her around roots and rocks. Behind us, shouts carry from the patio. A flashlight beam sweeps the trees, slicing through trunks and ferns. The beam catches us for a split second, and Hazel freezes, instinct to hide. "Move!" I whisper, not harsh, just firm. We push downhill, sliding in places, grabbing branches for balance. My gloves catch on bark. Hazel's blanket tears on a thorny bush and trails behind her until she lets it go. I keep listening for infected. I keep expecting to hear that dragging, bumping sound again. The woods are quieter than the house, but not peaceful. The quiet out here is full of small noises that could become big ones fast. A flashlight beam sweeps again, closer now. I hear footsteps crashing through brush behind us. The armed group is not letting us walk away. Then, from the driveway direction, the infected make their own decision. A distant engine revs again. Maybe that same car down the road. Maybe another. The noise pulls the infected, shifting the threat away from the backwoods for the moment, but not enough to relax. We reach a narrow service path cut into the hillside, probably for maintenance crews, and I use it to move faster, guiding Hazel along the flatter ground. Her breath sounds ragged, but she does not cry. She just moves, jaw clenched, eyes locked forward. We push until the mansion lights are hidden by trees. We stop behind a thick fallen log and crouch. I peek through brush. Flashlights still flicker near the house, searching the slope. The beams move in patterns, organized. I look down at Hazel's foot. The towel is soaked through at the heel. She holds her jaw tight and watches me, waiting for instruction. I pull the first aid kit open and find gauze. I unwrap the towel carefully and check for glass shards. One sliver is embedded near the arch. I use tweezers from the kit and pull it out in one motion. Hazel's eyes squeeze shut. Her hands grip the dirt. I do not talk too much. Talking wastes oxygen and draws attention. I wrap the foot in gauze, then secure it with tape. I pull a clean sock from my pocket, stolen earlier without thought, and slide it over the wrap. Hazel flexes her toes and nods once. "You can walk?" I whisper. Hazel nods again, tears in her eyes that do not fall. We wait another minute, listening. The flashlights near the mansion drift back up toward the patio. Their search is tightening, but not in our direction. Now is our chance to disappear deeper. We move again, downhill, toward the darker part of the canyon. I do not know where we are going. I only know where we cannot stay. Behind us, the mansion sits on the hill, a glass beacon full of infected, armed strangers, and the panic room that felt safe until it became a coffin with a timer. In front of us is the forest, and whatever the world has turned into. Hazel's hand finds my sleeve again, and she keeps pace. I keep moving. I do not look back. We hike for what feels longer than it is, because every shadow demands a check. The terrain forces us to zigzag. We hit a small creek and follow it for a while, using the sound of water to mask our movement, but not staying close enough to splash loud. We climb over a fence line and skirt around a small outbuilding that smells of gasoline and old wood. I keep Hazel behind me, guiding her around the worst brush. When we finally reach a wider service road, it is not a real road, more dirt than gravel. It curves through trees and disappears into darkness. No lights, no houses, no guarantee. We stop again and crouch near a ditch. Hazel whispers, "Where are we going?" I keep my voice low. Down the mountain, we find a place that is not full of people. Hazel nods without arguing. She looks at her wrapped foot, then at my bag. "Do you have more water?" I hand her a pouch. She drinks small sips, disciplined. Then she hands it back, not wanting to waste. I open my own pouch and drink, then cap it again. The night air is cold enough that sweat dries fast. My clothes cling in places and then chill. I do not narrate panic. I narrate actions. I keep checking left, right, behind. Somewhere far off, a dog barks once, then stops. Down the mountain, a faint glow pulses. Maybe a fire, maybe a generator. Maybe a city trying to stay alive. I look at Hazel. She looks back, steady in a way that does not fit. "You did good," I whisper. Hazel shrugs, a tiny motion that tells me she has not had anyone say that in days. We start walking down the service road, step after step, staying to the edge, avoiding the center where footprints show, avoiding loose gravel where it crunches. The mansion is behind us now, hidden, but not gone. The armed group will either survive there or die there. The infected will keep gathering where noise calls them. The panic room will sit sealed, full of food wrappers and silence, waiting for someone who never comes. I think about how close I came to staying inside and becoming part of that silence. Hazel's hand stays near my sleeve. Not gripping now, just present, a small anchor. We move downhill toward whatever comes next, and I keep my eyes open, because sleep is a problem for later. For now, motion is survival.